Well, when you put your foot on the accelerator, it opens the throttle valve. The speed of the air will cause some jets. So I've got my main jets, my... Right, that's the idle jet there. Something's just gone bang. Gotta go in. A bit more out here. It's good. It's an exciting place today. So in the last video I showed you getting this carburetor on and making a linkage and stuff for it. Now I'm going to show you how I jet it. At the moment it's actually jetted for being twin carbs, so it's pretty lean because you've got two of them instead of one of them, so it's not going to be jetted right for just having the one carb on the motor. But before I show you how you do that, I'll show you the concept of how a carburetor works. Right, this guy here, the carburetor. Its job is to get the right amount of fuel squirted into the air which is passing through it. So how does it do this? Well, when you put your foot on the accelerator, it opens the throttle valve, which is just like a throttle valve on fuel injection. And air passes through the barrel. And the air passing through the barrel actually draws the fuel out. I'll show you how it does that. This is a very simplified version of a carburetor at its very basic form. I'm trying to keep it basic as I can at the moment because it is a basic principle really. This is the barrel of the carburetor. This is your throttle valve. So when the throttle valve opens, it allows air to be drawn through the carburetor because the engine's drawing it in. It's sucking it through the barrel of the carburetor. And this bit here is called a venturi. It's a narrower part of the barrel. And the air movement going through the venturi causes a low pressure underneath it, and it will draw fuel, this is fuel here by the way, out of the float bowl. I'll get to that in a minute, what a float bowl is, and it draws it up here and down into the engine. I'll show you how that works actually. Right. So that is the fuel in the fuel bowl, this is the jet, and if I blow air across the top of the jet, the speed of the air will cause low pressure and suck the fuel out, like this. This is why carburetors are so good at getting the right amount of fuel into the air, because the amount of fuel going into the air is governed by the amount of air going through there. It's simple. And with regards to tuning the amount of fuel that goes in there, you have different sized jets to allow different amounts of fuel to go through. It's quite a bit more complicated than this here, but we'll get into that later. But before you get into the jetting of the carburetor, you've got to make sure everything else is tickety-boo. So you need to make sure your valve clearances are right, your timing's right, you've got no air leaks or anything like that. So first of all, we'll take it for a drive and see what it drives like. I just better look at my fuel gauge first as well, make sure I've got some fuel. Yep, we should be alright. Right. Seems alright. It's a bit of a flat spot to start with. Yeah, that's a flat. Foot down and nothing happens. It's alright mid-range, but low range it needs to be richer. So the idle jet's probably too small. Yeah, there's nothing there. Okay, right, let's go and put a bigger idle jet in it. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop. In one of my old carburetors here, one of my 36 IDFs, I've got some jets. So I've got my main jets, my air jets and my motion tubes. I've also taken the idle jets out of it, so that I've actually got a selection of jets which are different to the ones in the carburetor on the car at the moment, so I can try them. Because I don't actually have a selection of jets, but I am going to get some in the near future. So just in the front here there, that's one idle jet, and just in the other side here, that's the other idle jet. So I'll unscrew him. Pretty tricky to get to with that little cover on there, but it's way easier than... Oh no, that's fallen off. The jet's actually come out of its holder. It's just sticking in there like... I wonder if we can get him without dropping him. Pliers, need pliers. Right, that's the idle jet there. That is a 47. And these jets out of the other carburetor are 50s, so they're bigger, so we'll put them in. It's really awkward. Right, we'll take that up the road and give that a go. Put a bigger main jet in and see what happens. Yeah, it's flat. So the main jets are in here. That's somewhere safe. That's somewhere safe. Right, the main jet is that guy on the end there. Him. These are a... Can't see what that is right now. And if you take that apart there, that there is your air jet in the end there. So the ones I've just taken out were 115s and these are 145s, so they're a bit bigger. We'll give that a go. Oh, that's better. What's that flat spot now? It's pretty good there, but just for fun I'm going to change the air jet for it to a bigger one. Actually putting a bigger air jet in makes it leaner, and the other two jets, if you make them bigger, it makes it richer, because this is for air and the other two are for fuel. So we're going to try that, lean it down at higher RPMs and more throttle. Doesn't make a lot of difference. So that's this guy in the end here. That's a 200. So I'm going to swap them 200s out for a 235, which is bigger, so it will make it leaner because it's air, not fuel. Well, this might have something to do with it, and there's nothing in that hole. I probably forgot to do a spark plug up and it's just blown straight out. That's probably why it's running crap as well. I reckon this is the problem here. It's the road spark plug calibration. Well, at least it hasn't got any threads on it. So that's a good sign. Part of the way to read a spark plug is to see how the strap is burnt, to see what sort of timing you got. And what not many people do is actually look at the strap to see how much road it's got. That's got a lot. And this motor is solid mounted. It's a gearbox plate at the front and a solid mount at the back. So you hear every noise from the engine through the chassis. And I had a really horrible rumble, but I reckon it's that there, see? That exhaust touching the body there? So I'm going to bend that out of the way, and that's cheered me up a bit. Because when it has low oil pressure sometimes and the oil hasn't built up, you can actually hear the bearings rumble a bit through the chassis, and it was a bit worrying because it sounded like that. The air corrector jet I put in, it didn't make a lot of difference, so I put the other one back in, and I put the original idle jet back in it again, and it made it a little bit worse, so then I put the other one back in again. You just need to go backwards and forwards, and if you've got a selection of jets you can actually narrow it down, which I don't have at the moment, so I'm going to get some. I've got the dual carbs back on it at the moment because I'm doing comparisons between the dual carbs and the single carburetor, where it's actually a dual carburetor but only one of them, or is it a twin carburetor and only one of them, and you have dual twin carbs, or do you have twin dual carbs? I don't know, maybe you can answer that in the questions, in the comments. But anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment and all that good stuff. And I go into a lot more detail about how the carburetor works and the jets and stuff in my other video about how carbs work and how tuning carbs helps with tuning EFI. Also in another video I show you how I synchronise my twin carbs together, and also on these carbs you can synchronise these two barrels separately. It's a very similar concept with these Weber carbs as it is to Holley carbs. The only different things you may come across is variable jet carburetors, which is a totally different subject altogether, but they're generally not used on VWs, although this one may have some motorcycle carburetors on it at some point. But that's another project involving some spinny things as well. You'll find out about that later. Anyway, have a great day. Oh, and watch another one of my videos, this one here maybe.